Hey, Phil, I know that Jacob spent most of his time looking, I guess, at Cal's offensive personnel when he was there. But how can he help you prepare?
Jake Peeler has a knowledge of just about every kid on the team. I mean, I could probably give you a pretty accurate rundown of the defensive personnel here, and he's been able to give us, a good person-to-person rundown, recap of each kid. So it always helps when you know personnel well. So that's obviously an advantage for us this week.
Give us your eval after watching the film of last Saturday, in from a passing standpoint, from a rushing standpoint.
Well, I try to coach the game unemotionally. I always tell the kids we want to play enthusiastically, but you don't want to play the game emotionally because you get a little too high, a little too low. And I've got to listen to my own advice because I let our lack of execution, which falls on my shoulders, affect me at the end of the game. So I didn't feel great coming off the game because the 4-minute series that we had at the end of the game wasn't pretty, and I wasn't happy with that. But, I just had to check myself and make sure I didn't let that skew what I thought was a very good response to some halftime adjustments the staff made. I thought they played very good and explosively in the second half, and that's what we wanted. Now, generally, looking at the film, I was very happy overall.
Coach, somewhat of a slow start this weekend, last week, but followed by a big third quarter. Are you worried about what a slow start might mean once you guys get into the thick of the schedule here with Cal and Alabama coming up?
No question. I think against the caliber of opponent that we'll be playing this year, and even against the two teams that we've already played, I think to get off, we had a really nice opening series drive against South Alabama, and then we really moved the ball in both first halves. The issue for me has been not finishing drives, and in each of the games we've had a first half turnover, which has really kind of stalled some things. So total yards and production-wise, we've been fine, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't finish the drive. And so that was the emphasis at halftime in both games, and that'll be the emphasis this week with the away trip and all that. The focus is going to be on starting faster without question.
Coach, on some of your run fits, seemed like you're still running the same thing, vanilla so far, I would say, in the first two games. Are you going to continue to add more of your playbook as time expires?
Yeah, even though the offense is simple, I think earlier in the season, no matter where you are, you're going to run your basic foundational stuff first. You'd like to get good at the stuff you want to hang your hat on. But I do think as the season goes on, there'll be more wrinkles in the run game like there have been in the past game. So, there'll be a few things at Cal. But I'll say this like I'll say it every week. If they load up and put 8 in the box and give us throws, we're going to take throws. If they're going to defend with 8 coverage-wise, we're going to run the ball a lot. And so it really is just going to come down to what the defense decides is the priority. Sometimes it's been the whole game like the last 2 weeks. Sometimes it'll be by half or by drive or by play. But that's how we're built. We're built to ID where the space is, and then whether it's run or pass, we want to try to attack it.
Coach, how did Octavius Cooley play in his first week of the season, and where is he right now in the progression of the offense?
Octavius Cooley I have to say, is an outstanding kid. And so, when you coach great kids like that, you get excited for them. I'm a fan of Octavius as much as I am a coach of Cooley's. I was really happy to see him come out. He practiced well. He did a good job of learning what he needed to learn. And for his first outing this year, because he missed game 1, I thought he did a good job. He made some heads-up plays. He's very physical. And for as big as he is, he's athletic. And so you're probably going to see his role in the offense grow as the season goes on.
As a guy that coaches an air raid offense, do you get tired of having to explain about the rushing game every week?
I'm
it's
going to
the
answer.
Same thing, isn't it?
I'm going to probably bore you with my answers, but I mean that we want the offense to be simple. The explanations are going to be simple, and some of my responses are going to be simple. They're not designed to skate questions, but at the end of the day, that's really what we do. And so, I mean, Chuck, if they put everybody over on the right side, we're going to run or throw on the left side. You know what I mean? If they put everybody deep, we're going to do something underneath, whether it's run or pass. And, you know, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but that's how we approach it with the players. That's how we want them to understand it. And it doesn't take a genius in the stands to sit and look at the field and go, hey, you know what, there's a lot of space deep right. They might be going there. Yeah, we will be. So, I mean, that's about as blunt as I can put it. I mean, that's really what we're looking for, space, just about every play.
Where is Jason Pellerin's development in the offense right now?
You know, Jason's an interesting guy. He has he's kind of caught in between. You know, he's not as big as some of the tight ends that are starting in front of him from a physical standpoint. He does a great job effort-wise physically in the box. And then you know, he's probably not as clean-cut a wide receiver as the outstanding group of receivers we have right now. And so, you know, he's really just been a victim of some great personnel at the two personnels that he is a hybrid between. And so at some point you're going to see him. You know, I don't know when and where, but you will. And, you know, he's a guy, he's a great team player. He understands his role. And I think as the season goes on, you'll see more of him. But right now I couldn't give you a specific, you know, role that he has outside of the tight end hybrid spot that he's playing right now.
Just kind of what have you seen so far from the Cal defense? I think they're 120th in pass defense. I mean, what do you think that's going to mean for your passing offense this week?
You know, statistics are helpful sometimes. You can skew them in any direction you want to. Regardless if they're last in the country in pass defense or first, if that's what they're giving up, that's what we're going to attack. I mean, so that's what it comes down to. I think, you know, sometimes stats are deceiving just because they may have had two teams that run the ball a lot against them or two teams that threw the ball a lot against them. Right now, I would say pass defense from our first two opponents doesn't look great because of the statistics that we had, but they might be a little bit better in pass defense than you might think. It just happens to be what we prioritized the first 2 weeks. So
What have you seen the first two?
you know, I think we match up well athletically up front, and I think we match up well athletically in the secondary with Cal. It's going to be more about us executing and doing our thing. There are some really good players out there. I think the one that we've identified as one of the more problematic players at Cal is number 9, defensive lineman. He's great with his hands. He's got some tremendous foot speed. He destroys blocks. He gets off blocks. So to me, that's the big scheme changer that we're worried about up front. And we're currently in the process of IDing the secondary guys right now.
Coach, you were talking about statistics, but Shea Patterson had that unbelievable game Saturday from a statistics standpoint. Just discuss him and where he is right now.
You know, it's a little similar to last week. I know the fans appreciate the scrambling and they love the beautiful throws. Excuse me. That's the head coach. You almost think I should answer that. I think he'll understand here. Shea, though, excited me Saturday because, you know, I said this in the press conference after the game. There were 5 plays where I think in January he might tell you he probably wouldn't have made the decisions that he made on Saturday. But he's progressed so much throughout the spring and camp, and instead of having to check a play and change it or, you know, scratch it from the playlist, we were able to carry it and we were able to execute it on Saturday because he made a really good decision at quarterback. Decided, you know, maybe to start elsewhere or start with a different guy or run a different play or what have you, take a different choice. There were 5 plays that I thought were progressive mentally, as I would put it, and he nailed all 5 of them. And those are the things that excite me because those are the things that are going to make the difference in bigger games.
Tell us about Eric Swinney and where he is with the progression of the offense as well.
Swinney is he's very sudden running back, you know, in terms of his change of direction. And I think because, you know, he's coming back and he had a good camp, he's 3rd on the depth chart right now. The plan this past weekend was to use him a little bit more than we did. We didn't get to him. I thought Penniman and Jordan Wilkins were very productive in doing the things we wanted them to do. The They actually enjoyed some success catching the football a little bit, and so we just didn't quite get to him. But he's not left out of the loop there, and he's part of the game plan for Cal as well. And it is our intent again here to try to get him on the field a little bit more.
From my uneducated viewpoint, it looked like the offensive line is doing a good job in pass protection. Is that your assessment as well?
Well, when you get a three-man rush, I would hope so. You know, and that's part of the deal. We had a 3-down front, and they didn't pressure a lot. And our guys, you know, there's nothing more frustrating than having a 3-man rush and having your quarterback run around. And you know, we didn't have to deal with that. 8 in coverage and running around off a 3-man rush it's a tough way to win a ball game. Our guys did a good job IDing and protection. Coach McNell's doing a great job of getting them geared up for each Saturday's, you know, defensive front. And so right now I feel real comfortable about where we are from a pass protection standpoint.
Given the way that AJ's performed in the first 2 games, do you anticipate a different approach with the way teams kind of try to isolate him defensively, and what will that mean for the rest of the receiving corps?
You know, it's interesting that you asked that because that's a conversation that we have with our receivers. You know, I think we all think at some point we're going to see some bracket or trap or you know, some sort of 2-man coverage on AJ. I think, though, and this is the design of the offense, we want that to be difficult to do because if you're going to, you know, invest 2 people in some way, shape, or form into defending A.J. Brown, you have to deal with D.K. Metcalf one-on-one and Van Jefferson one-on-one and DeMarcus Lodge one-on-one. And that's why I say, depending on the focus in the passing game by each defense, you may see 2 receivers one week have a big game and the other 2 another game. It's really going to be about who they decide to prioritize. And in a perfect world, you'd like them to play balanced and just be able to chase space the way we want to.
Jordan Ta'amu got into the game very late the other day. Where do you guys see him right now and his understanding of the offense and your comfort level with him?
Comfort level with Jordan is good. You know, he's a work in progress, but if we had to play him tomorrow, we feel comfortable. I don't know that the playlist would be as extensive as it is with Shea. I don't know how extensive we are anyway, but we would probably cater the playlist a little bit more to what Jordan does well. The good thing for me is I don't have 2 different quarterbacks. You know, Jordan can throw the football. I think he's exceptional first and second level. He's improving at throwing the deep ball, and he's an excellent runner. You know, and so really, I say this all the time with no disrespect to Jordan, he's not Shea right now, but he's Shea-like in terms of what his skill set is. And so the offense I don't think would change very much if we had to play Jordan.